Hello and welcome back to another Origin Showcase video. In this Origin Showcase video, we're showcasing the Atomizer version 2.1 created by the Discord user known as 𝓼𝓲 from the Origin's Discord server. This Origin is for Minecraft version 1.17/1.17.1. It may potentially work in 1.16, but it may potentially also break at the same time. Moving to the Origin itself, it's a 2-impact Origin, meaning it has a medium amount of impact upon the game. It's not going to be something that's too drastically changing the game to you, but it's going to change the game at least to some degree in a way, shape, or form. Moving into the description, you can shrink yourself down to the size of an atom and back up again. Anyhow, moving into the first ability, we've got the Atomizer. You can shrink yourself to the size of an atom. When you're this small, you are atomically denser and you get a resistance for a short amount of time. Now first off, in order to use this ability, you have to press the shift and your secondary Origin ability key at the same time, and then you'll shrink down. You can also use this to reverse and go back to your normal size, but we'll talk about that a little bit later and the effects that you get with that one. But when you shrink down to a smaller size, you are very tiny. Like, I mean very, very tiny. Like, you're the size of it, let's say a pixel on a Minecraft block. You also, because of being super duper dense, you move extraordinarily slowly when you're in your smaller form. It's honestly a very weird ability to say the least. Going this small and being so damn feels like you're so damn slow. It's very intriguing to say the least. Honestly, I don't know exactly how to describe this because it is quite a different experience playing Minecraft at this like size, but it's like, I don't exactly know what to say about it. Like, you're far tinier than before. Everything looks massive, but it takes forever to walk towards any block at all. It's really weird. It's a really weird experience that I honestly do recommend you do at least check it out just for this little bit of an experience for yourself. And hey, if you don't want to shrink and become extremely dense, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. There's over 100,000 of you guys who actively watch the content who haven't subscribed. Either way, let's continue on. Moving into your next ability, you've got the resize ability. You can grow yourself back to the size of a normal person, but due to your previous smaller size, you become less dense, giving you weakness for a short period of time. So again, you have to do the sneak as well as your secondary ability key in order to grow back to the normal size of a normal Minecraft player. And as it says also here, you get weakness for around 15 seconds after you use this ability. Ultimately, there's not too much more to it. You can just shrink and grow back at any point in time. Like, they have like a very, very short cooldown. Like, by the time you get back to being a big size again, you have the cooldown was pretty much over for going back to the small size, and you can pretty much endlessly cycle it pretty easily. It's a bit weird to do that, but you know, the abilities are interesting to say the least. Anyhow, moving into the next ability, you've got strong legs. After falling off of edges of blocks for all your life, you finally built up a resistance to fall damage. This in essence is just a long explainer for the fact that you don't take any fall damage, which is pretty good. Anyhow, moving to your next ability, you've got the climbing ability. You can grab the spaces in between the atoms to climb up blocks. This ability is only accessible when you're in the atom form, not when you're at your normal size. But when you're at this atom form, you can climb up any surface of blocks regardless of whatever they are. But of course, this is terribly inefficient, so if you have blocks yourself, you can climb up normally as your normal size self by just doing one block towers and stuff like that. But hey, you might potentially find a use for it. It's like, it could be useful for something. Like, let's say trapdoors and stuff along those lines where you go through little tiny holes. Moving into your next ability, you've got micro flight. By the way, that's a misspelling in the title there. When you're in a smaller form, you have the ability to fly. Now, when you go to your smaller form, you'll be gifted a set of elytra wings so you can actually fly around. This is a very weird experience, not gonna lie. Like, as I've said already, this Origin thus far is just an interestingly weird experience. Being extremely tiny is already a weird experience. Being a little bit slower than the normal you at a tiny level is very weird. And now flying at this tiny level is so damn weird because it's just so weird. Like, you're barely moving anywhere when you're flying because you're still going around the same pace as you would as you're walking, if not slightly faster than that. But at the same time, you're also getting these wind noises that you would normally get from the elytra. So it is just this weird combination of senses that I really don't know how best to describe it. You know what? I'm just going to play a clip for you here. Anyhow, moving to the next ability, you've got atomic disassembly. When you're in your smaller form, you can disassemble most stones at the atomic levels. Again, this ability suffers from the exact same gripe that I have with a majority of other Origins that give this type of break the stone with your bare hands. It's still as slow as it takes to break it with your bare hands in normal Minecraft. You just get the cobblestone afterwards, which, in all honesty, I don't ever see a use for this type of ability when it's still this damn slow, because you're still better off getting a wooden pickaxe because it saves you time in the grand scheme of things to get that first first 3 bits of stone because it saves you a few moments of your time. It's just one of those things where, yeah, I can see a possible use case scenario for it, but at the same time, it's ultimately an ability that just, it feels like it'd be way better and way more useful. For example, just speeding it up enough so that when you mine with your hands, it's the equivalent of mining with, let's say, a stone pickaxe or maybe an iron pickaxe, so you have a reason to actually use your ability in a way, shape, or form. Or maybe not, I don't know. I personally feel like this way of doing this type of ability is just a bit of its own thing that I really don't think works out too well. But moving on. Moving into your next ability, you've got reduced health. Years of changing size has reduced your overall health that you can actually contain. In the grand scheme of things, this really just means that you have 8 hearts instead of the regular 10 that you would have as an average Minecraft player. This decrease in hearts normally isn't really too much of a thing to worry about. It just means that you have to be a bit more wary when you take damages from certain sources. Moving to the next ability, we have large appetite. Changing size is quite exhausting. Pretty much every time you go to change size, you'll be given a bit of hunger debuff for around a couple of seconds afterwards. This will start by lasting around 8 seconds, but the more often that you do change size, if you change size in quick succession, it will stack up a little bit more, so you consume your hunger a lot quicker than the average player. But overall, this ability isn't too much to worry about. You just gotta keep an eye on your hunger bar every time you switch sizes. Moving into the next ability, you've got small hands. Due to the size and shape of your hands, you cannot use ranged weapons whatsoever. In all honesty, I have no idea how to feel about this one. To be honest, it's a bit of a weird one to have. Considering you become super duper small and you have next to no reach when you're super small, and also you're extraordinarily slow when you're super small, having some form of ranged ability would be extremely handy when it comes to those scenarios. But no, this origin flies in the face of having any form of reason to actually go to the smaller origins just to get told, hey, nah, that's not happening, what's the point doing that? In all honesty, it makes me feel like that this origin is almost a useless origin to pick, mainly because of a few key factors that make this origin pretty weak and useless for its main ability. For example, when you shrink down to the smaller size, whilst logically speaking it makes sense that you're a lot slower than what you are as a bigger character, it also doesn't make sense gameplay wise. In order for it to be somewhat enjoyable, you want to be at least going at least the same speed that you would be at a bigger player, if not faster of it. Otherwise, what's the point of becoming that small? Because you get 10 times slower, and actually way more than that. You become so damn slow that it really makes the speed small extremely useless in a lot of different scenarios. Yeah, you get an extra light, you get an elytra when you become super small, but then again, that's also pretty much something that's non-existent to care about because of the fact that you move so damn slowly. Honestly, this origin is... it's not terrible. It's got some really cool ideas and concepts behind it, but I just feel like that some of the ideas around it and some of the techniques and like some of the actual debuffs that you get with this origin, I feel like are a bit overbearing in comparison to what you would like from a normal origin. Moving into your final ability, you have Infect. Due to your knowledge of DNA, you're able to take out your infected cells and spread them through the air. Be careful though, as you're not immune to this infection. This is your primary ability using your primary origin's ability key, which is normally binded to G, and what this does is it gives players and mobs around you the wither effect as well as yourself for a few seconds. That's about it to it. You get given the wither effect to both yourself as well as the people around you. It will hurt you and you will take a bit of damage from it, but so does everyone else around you. That personally doesn't exactly redeem the origin in my eyes. I still think it's pretty underpowered and ultimately one that I would personally avoid. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think it's overpowered, underpowered? What are your thoughts on this origin? What do you think could be done better? Let me know in the comments as always. I do tend to read them, and so do the creators whenever they find these videos. When the creators find these videos, they tend to read through them, see the ideas and what people say about the origin. But as always, massive thank you to my channel members, especially my $25 channel members Holly the Void and Saturn, and my $10 channel member 𝓵𝓷𝓴𝓼. And until next one guys, goodbye.